Did you know the most dangerous lies aren't shouted, they're whispered in questions? Every day, someone could be bending your reality without you even realizing it. And the truth is, liars don't just lie, they trap you. They ask questions designed to manipulate your thoughts, your feelings, even your memory. And if you don't recognize them, you're already one step behind. Right now, take a moment. Think about the last time you felt unsure in a conversation. Could it have been one of these 5 questions in disguise? Recognizing them is the first step to stopping manipulation before it even starts. The first question liars ask is not always a question that seems suspicious on the surface. Often it's designed to redirect attention, to pull your focus away from the real issue, and to put you on the defensive. Imagine you confront someone about something they did, something that clearly doesn't add up, and instead of answering, they respond with, "Why do you always assume the worst?" At first, it might seem harmless, even reasonable, but what they're doing is incredibly strategic. By asking that question, they shift the spotlight from their behavior to yours. Suddenly, instead of considering their actions, you start examining yourself. You feel the need to justify why you reacted the way you did, why you're suspicious, why you even dared to question them in the first place. You become defensive, and that defensiveness is exactly what they want. It's a quiet manipulation, invisible to most people because it feels like a normal conversation. Deflection questions work because they exploit a natural human instinct, the desire to be fair, to see yourself as reasonable, to avoid conflict. When someone puts you on the defensive, your mind automatically starts creating explanations for why you feel justified. You stop thinking about the lie or the manipulation in front of you and start thinking about how you might be overreacting. Your focus shifts entirely, and your emotional energy is consumed by self-doubt. You might even apologize, not for anything you did, but for daring to question them. This is the clever part. The liar doesn't need to prove anything. They don't need to tell the truth. They just need to make you question your own perception. They know that once you doubt yourself, their lie becomes far easier to accept, and their control over the conversation grows. It's not just about shifting attention, it's about creating a sense of imbalance. You start wondering if you're being too sensitive or too accusatory, even when their actions are clearly deceitful. The power dynamic subtly flips. The liar appears calm, reasonable, and composed, while you feel flustered, guilty, and unsure. In this way, a single simple question, designed to deflect, can dismantle your confidence and your ability to see the truth. Over time, repeated deflection questions can erode your instincts entirely, leaving you second-guessing yourself in every interaction with them. Recognizing these deflection questions is crucial. The moment you hear a question that redirects the focus from their actions to your reactions, pause. Notice the pattern. Ask yourself whether your attention is being pulled away from what matters. The more aware you are, the less power these questions have over you. Understanding this doesn't just protect you from lies, it strengthens your sense of clarity and control, allowing you to stay grounded even when someone is trying to manipulate your mind. The second question liars ask is the guilt trap question, and it's one of the most effective tools they use to manipulate you emotionally. Unlike deflection questions, which pull your focus away from their actions, guilt trap questions are designed to make you feel responsible for questioning them at all. Imagine confronting someone about a lie, only to hear them ask, "Do you really think I would lie to you?" Or, "Why don't you trust me?" At first, it may seem like a normal, even vulnerable question, but it's far from innocent. The moment they ask it, they are planting seeds of doubt in your mind, not about their honesty, but about your judgment. You start to wonder if you're overreacting, if you're being unfair, if maybe you're the one causing problems just by noticing something is off. That's exactly the trap. Guilt trap questions work because guilt is an incredibly powerful emotion. Humans are wired to avoid feeling guilty, to make amends, and to preserve relationships. When someone triggers that emotion, your rational thinking takes a back seat. You stop analyzing the facts of the situation and start searching for reasons to justify the liar's behavior. Suddenly, your focus isn't on their dishonesty, it's on your own perceived flaws. you begin crafting mental explanations for why their actions might be acceptable, convincing yourself that maybe you are overreacting or misinterpreting things. In essence, the liar doesn't need to defend themselves. They don't even need to lie directly. Their question alone manipulates your emotions and nudges you toward compliance. These questions are also dangerous because they make the manipulator appear vulnerable and reasonable. By asking, "Why don't you trust me?" they frame themselves as the wronged party, as if your doubts are attacks against them. You feel the need to defend yourself, to apologize, or to reassure them of your trust, all while the original issue, the lie, is pushed to the background. Over time, this strategy erodes your confidence. You start questioning your instincts and your ability to detect deception. What should be a clear warning sign becomes a confusing tangle of emotions and self-doubt, leaving you more malleable to manipulation in the future. The key to resisting guilt trap questions is awareness. Recognize when a question is designed to make you feel guilty rather than clarify the truth. Pause, step back emotionally, and assess the situation objectively. Ask yourself if you're being pulled into feeling guilty for noticing a legitimate issue. The liar's power comes from your emotional reaction, so neutralizing that reaction robs them of control. By understanding how guilt trap questions operate, you can maintain clarity and protect your instincts, ensuring that you respond to lies and manipulation based on facts, not emotional pressure. The third type of question liars ask is the overly specific question, and it's one of the cleverest ways they create an illusion of honesty. These questions aren't meant to uncover the truth. They're designed to make you feel exposed, small, and uncertain, while giving the liar a sense of control over the conversation. For example, they might ask, "Where exactly were you on Tuesday evening, from the time you left work until you got home?" Or, "Who exactly did you talk to before you came here?" At first, it might seem like a normal curiosity or a way of keeping the conversation precise, but in reality, it's a manipulation tactic. By forcing you to recall minute details, they subtly shift the balance of power. You feel scrutinized, pressured, and even a little defensive, while they appear calm, meticulous, and in control. Overly specific questions work because they play on a basic human tendency, the desire to be accurate and precise when we're under scrutiny. When a liar asks these questions, your brain automatically shifts into a mode of memory retrieval, trying to recall every detail. That mental effort consumes your focus, your energy, and your attention. Instead of questioning the liar's actions or stories, you're busy reconstructing your own behavior and words. The liar doesn't have to prove anything. By making you feel the need to over-explain, they gain an upper hand. It's a subtle way of exhausting your cognitive resources so you become less sharp in detecting deception. This tactic also creates the illusion of credibility. When a liar asks detailed questions, it seems like they're thorough, careful, and honest. Their precision makes it appear as though they have nothing to hide, which makes you more likely to relax your skepticism. You may even begin to trust them more because your mind interprets their specificity as proof of honesty. In reality, the question itself is the weapon. While you are caught up in answering, they are guiding the narrative, framing themselves as reasonable and you as reactive or even evasive. It's a psychological trick that turns the spotlight on you, leaving the liar comfortably in control. The danger of overly specific questions is that they make you doubt your own instincts. The more details you provide, the more vulnerable you feel, and the more likely you are to rationalize any inconsistencies you notice in the liar's story. You may even feel like the problem is yours because you can't recall every tiny detail perfectly. The liar's goal is not just to get answers. They want to manipulate your confidence and make you question your perception of reality. The key to resisting these questions is to stay grounded and observe the intent behind them. Ask yourself whether the question is genuinely necessary or if it's a tool to control your reaction. By recognizing overly specific questions as a manipulation tactic, you reclaim your mental space, protect your clarity, and refuse to be drawn into a trap that leaves the liar appearing honest while you second-guess yourself. The fourth type of question liars ask is the leading question, and it's one of the most subtle yet effective tools of manipulation. Unlike deflection or guilt trap questions, which redirect attention or induce emotional guilt, leading questions are designed to guide your answers, to make you say what the liar wants you to say without you even realizing it. These questions often contain hints or assumptions built into them, such as, "You don't really believe that, do you?" Or, "Surely you understand why I did that, right?" On the surface, they appear conversational, even reasonable, but in reality, they are carefully constructed to influence your response, to make you validate the liar's narrative and confirm their version of events. Leading questions work because humans naturally want to agree with others, avoid conflict, and make sense of situations quickly. When a question subtly nudges your answer in a particular direction, your brain often takes the path of least resistance. You agree without critically analyzing it. That's exactly what the liar wants. They don't need to provide proof or justification. By framing the question, they control your answer. You feel like you're making your own choice, but in reality, your thinking has been steered by the structure of the question itself. It's a manipulation tactic that works below the level of conscious awareness, making it difficult to detect unless you pay very close attention. The danger of leading questions is that they make you complicit in the liar's deception. Each time you answer as they intended, you reinforce their narrative, even if you originally had doubts. For example, if someone asks, "You don't think I'd do something like that behind your back, do you?" And you answer, "No, of course not." You've just endorsed their story, even though deep down you might suspect otherwise. The question subtly pressures you to defend or justify them, shifting your focus away from analyzing the truth and toward confirming their story. Over time, repeated exposure to leading questions can erode your confidence, making you more likely to answer in ways that align with the manipulator's desires rather than your own instincts. What makes this type of question so dangerous is its invisibility. Unlike blatant lies, a leading question feels conversational. It doesn't trigger the usual alarm bells, so you answer naturally, unaware that you're being guided. The liar's goal is not confrontation, it's control, and leading questions are an elegant way to achieve it without ever appearing aggressive or dishonest. The key to defending against leading questions is awareness and mental pause. Notice when a question contains an assumption or subtly nudges you toward a specific response. Take a moment before answering. Separate your answer from their implied guidance. By responding deliberately rather than instinctively, you reclaim control of the conversation and prevent the liar from shaping your perception of reality. Recognizing leading questions is a skill, and the more you notice them, the less power they have over you. The fifth type of question liars ask is the time pressure question, and it's one of the most effective ways to manipulate your decision-making and bypass your critical thinking. Unlike other questions that redirect, guilt trip, or guide you, time pressure questions create a sense of urgency, forcing you to answer quickly before your mind has a chance to fully process the situation. For example, a liar might ask, "Quick, just tell me honestly, don't overthink it. Did you do this?" Or, "Give me a straight answer, don't take too long." At first glance, it seems like a reasonable request for clarity or honesty, but the underlying intention is manipulation. By pressuring you to respond rapidly, they reduce your ability to analyze, reflect, and detect inconsistencies in their story. Time pressure questions work because humans instinctively want to comply when someone urges speed or immediacy. Your brain automatically shifts into a reactive mode, prioritizing a fast response over careful evaluation. In that moment, your gut instincts and logical reasoning can be overridden by the sense of urgency. This is exactly what the liar wants. They are counting on your reflexive compliance. Instead of carefully considering the situation or evaluating their story, you provide an answer quickly, often validating their narrative without even realizing it. The question itself becomes a tool of control, not a tool for seeking truth. One of the most dangerous aspects of time pressure questions is that they create subtle stress, which further clouds judgment. When your body experiences pressure, real or implied, It releases stress hormones that narrow your focus and heighten your emotional response. Under these conditions, you're more likely to second-guess yourself, doubt your instincts, or even accept false explanations just to end the stress. The liar is exploiting not only your mind, but your physiological reaction, creating a scenario where you are more malleable and easier to manipulate. Repeated use of time pressure questions also trains your mind to respond quickly in their presence, making it harder over time to recognize deception. You start reacting automatically, trusting the liar's framing of urgency and abandoning careful evaluation. What should be a red flag instead becomes a routine interaction, leaving you vulnerable to repeated manipulation. The liar doesn't need to shout, threaten, or overtly lie. They just need to create a subtle sense of immediacy, and your own instincts do the rest. The key to resisting time pressure questions is to pause and reclaim your time. Mentally step back and recognize that no answer is more valuable than your clarity and judgment. A simple pause, a deliberate breath, or even asking for a moment to think immediately removes the manipulator's control. By refusing to be rushed, you neutralize the effect of urgency, protect your instincts, and regain power over the conversation. Understanding time pressure questions isn't just about spotting a lie, it's about taking back control over your own mind, your decisions, and your perception of reality.